So my parents are driving all the way from Minnesota to spend about 6 months with us, and I want their space to feel more like home. But here's a challenge. This is a tiny home. Every square inch counts. That's what led me to design this flip-up entertainment center that also doubles as a table, and it hides more than one secret. Now guys, I want to be honest with you. This project almost broke me, and it reminds me of something that I think every DIYer faces sooner or later. Have you ever had that moment of self-doubt where you wonder, am I ever gonna get better at this? Well, here's the truth. You don't get better by avoiding mistakes. You get better by learning how to recover from them. Faster, smoother, and with a little bit more grace each time. Now the truth is, experience doesn't mean that you're gonna stop making mistakes. It just means that you're gonna stop being stopped by those mistakes. I used to think that once you've built enough projects, you'd eventually reach a point where you don't mess up anymore. But the truth is, almost every project that I do still finds a way to humble me. What experience really gives you isn't perfection, right? It's calm, it's resilience, it's grit, the ability to keep going despite, right, these mistakes. It's the ability to kind of look at that mistake and think, all right, what's my next move? And it also shifts kind of that mentation of I've failed to, all right, this is where I learn. And although I didn't make a lot of mistakes, I did make one that really seemed to throw me off. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, let me show you the project, okay? The wall looks empty now, but by the end of this video, you're gonna find out why I didn't quit after that one mistake. And you'll also be able to see the east wall transformation from this blank space to a fully functioning entertainment center / dining table with hidden storage for chairs and TV trays. Right now, I want to share with you the build, so let's get building. Thanks for hanging out. All right, you guys, so this video starts like every other one. You've got to break down your wood. And so for me, one of the things that I'll maybe highlight is point out if those arm lifts that you saw me using in the beginning to get that plywood up, it's coming in clutch now, and especially as I age, it just makes it that much easier. Because for me, I am definitely thinking about how do I prolong my ability to function in the shop. And so as you see me breaking down that wood, I am also one that believes in just hanging on to the scrap. I am using as much of the scrap wood as I can here as well. And then of course that rolling cart that you saw me using, that thing is the bomb. I have just absolutely loved that as opposed to having to carry things around. That just allows me to kind of mobilize myself, if you will. And of course now I'm just trying to do a dry fit, if you will. I've got this extra space that of course is going to be just above the TV tray, which is just open. I thought rather than leaving it just kind of dead space or kind of just open, I would actually create this little cubby that'll fit right on top of that TV tray right there. You can see that space right there. So I'm just marking out my lines to give me a little bit of extra. And of course I always have to consult Master Braun himself. Everything is looking good, so back to the build. All right, so I'm a big fan of the pocket holes, so I am gonna unapologetically use those. So we'll get all this kind of put in. And again, this cubby hole that I'm building now, still don't even have a function for it, but I do know that it's there and it's available. So if anyone has any, if you have any good ideas on what would actually fit in there, I was like, man, I don't know. At first I was just trying to create a scavenger hunt for my parents, and of course my dad loves Snicker bars, so I put his Snicker bar in there, but he wasn't able to find it. So that's what it's been so far. So still looking for opportunities there. And honestly, guys, this is a real simple build. You can see the box is pretty much already together. I've got kind of just a dry fit going here. One of the things that I noticed is that when I put the TV tray in, it flops forward. So I do have to create a little bit of two channels that allow it to kind of stay in its own lane, if that makes sense. And of course, I'm just using a combination of wood glue and some instant glue so that the instant glue will hold it right where I need it to be, allowing the glue to come in. So I want to own up to something. I made the fit so tight, right, that it was challenging to get a few things put together at this stage, okay? I wish that I would have pre-drilled and did all of my markings for my my doors, the door hinges especially, right? So I'm going to be using these full overlay European conceal hinges. Now, it's all gonna fit in a sense of the TV tray and the chair, but where I messed up is I already put these in and I did those brad nails. So if I wanna take this away, I now have to take off all the brad nails, take off the screws. This is where this particular drill is not one that I use very often, but when I need it, this is absolutely clutch. You guys have all seen, this is a, I think this is what they call like a 4-in-1. It comes with multiple different heads, meaning I could take off the traditional hex bit head, which just goes on. Let me get up a little bit closer, right here. However, I can pull that, take it off, and it also comes with this right angle for tight spaces. So you'll notice that I can actually have it with, I only need minimal clearance, and I actually think I'm gonna be able to make it without having to take this off, which I think would be awesome. So notice I can actually fit this in underneath this board and drill my holes to do everything that I need. Now, is it convenient? Of course not. Would it have been better if I'd done it ahead of time? Absolutely. But here's the honest truth. If you're still new to the game or even experienced in the game, you're gonna forget stuff. And it's really more about just doing workarounds to get it to work. Oh well, it is what it is. But let's go ahead and let's get going with that. So I can get all this installed. I'll get the doors on and then we'll keep going with the build.
Thought it'd be golden, crossing the line and don't look back. Think I was broken, I needed some time to clear my head. 'Cause I've made all the mistakes and I've dealt with the heartbreak.
All right. So this one looks fine. This one's good here. I have no problem with that one. That one actually is working out. I was trying to get this one as high as I could. I noticed that when I bring this up, this little flange over here is impacting the bottom of this. Now, it's not by much. I could honestly probably just, I could file this or I could move this one down, but I really just need that space. So I'm hesitant to do that. So I think what I might do is just send this down. So what I ended up doing is I brought this out to my grinder, and you can actually see right here how I just ground it down. It ground amazingly simple. Obviously I'm not going through a hardened steel here, but rather these are likely aluminum or something of that nature. But it ground super easy. Now it doesn't hit that edge anymore, so that actually worked out really good. Hashtag pivot. Mistakes were made, as they say. Okay, so that fits, so I've got that one done, and now let's go ahead and do the opposite side, then we'll get the doors on.
I think that I'm finding my way right back to you. Yeah, I think that I'm finding my way. Thought it'd be golden, crossing the line and don't look back.
All right, so because I'm gonna be coming back out and I'll be utilizing this actually after a couple of hours, don't forget, here's a little pro tip. Go ahead and take that. You can use saran wrap or you can use any sort of a little bit of a baggie, which would be totally fine. Gonna wrap that thing up. This is a Pringles container, which I'm gonna bring it around just over top. I'm gonna put that bag inside. Snap the lid. That thing will still be good to go in a couple of hours from now, so I won't have to even worry about it. So, all right. So I've already got a couple of questions on these brackets. So this is the Wall Master. This is the 24-inch. It's kind of a floating shelf bracket, and these are the heavy-duty ones, which are supposed to support up to 500 pounds, although my cabinet couldn't support that. But A 2-pack of these is $63.99. I'll actually include a link to this down below if you want to see what it would be for you to get one for yours. And you can buy these customizable. And what I mean by that is mine is 24 inches because I wanted to have the most support for my tabletop. But you can go less than that, you can go more than that. These things honestly work absolutely fantastic. And if you want to even use them for like a flip-up workbench inside your shop or your garage or whatnot, there's just a ton of variety that goes along with this. Now guys, I want to be honest when it comes to, earlier I had mentioned about how it just threw me off. I made this mistake, and I wouldn't even call it a mistake as much as I just forgot to pre-drill the stretcher in the back, which would then connect it to the stud. And I'll be honest, I think a lot of you were probably thinking it was going to be something super complex, but it was something super minor, and I think that's why it had so much insult to injury for me. Is I sat there and I'm like, I almost was in this fog. I almost didn't even know what I was gonna do to fix it. But the reality is I had all the answers right in my hand. And for those of you that have kind of mental fog that goes along with fibromyalgia or whatever, fill in the blank, you guys know when you're in that cloud, it's just like, there's no getting out of it. And I just sat there for so long, eventually realizing, wait a minute, what am I doing? All right, so at this point we've got it's a polyurea polyaspartic. We've got a base coat down with the chip, again, similar to the floor system. It's cured at least enough that we were able to scrape it. I had my son helping me, and we got it fully scraped. And now we're gonna do a clear coat, top coat. We're gonna do it extra thick, because again, this is gonna be the countertop, this is gonna be the tabletop, and then of course the entertainment top. So we're gonna go ahead and get that going now. Let's see how this turns out. So to continue on with the life lesson here, I just sat there, and you know, what really got me is that it wasn't a huge catastrophe or a huge mistake. It was that it was so simple. And I think that's the kind of thing that I've done 100 times, and I've done it 100 times right. And I think that's what actually stung. It's funny how the smaller mistakes, in my opinion, really feel heavier sometimes. I think because deep down, they're the ones that really mess with your confidence. The big ones, to some degree, you almost expect that that's going to happen. But when it's something so small, something like that, you really just, you feel like you should have caught it. It almost feels more personal, at least that's to me. And it just makes you question your focus, your skill, and just your identity as a builder or a creator. But as far as, you know, where I realized in that fog is that it's not about the size of the mistake that matters. It's really not. It's the size of the story that we attach to it. Now, I turned a 5-minute problem into a hour-long mental storm, and I hate to say that, but it's not because of what had happened. Again, it's because of what I told myself about it. And this is where I've recently been reading on this kintsugi, and I'm familiar. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it's a Japanese concept. And it's a Japanese idea concept, and it's an art form of repairing broken pottery with gold. And I think that the idea here is that if you break something, it becomes a part of the beauty, right? Not something to hide, but actually something to highlight. So in a way, woodworking is kind of the same. In the case of the pottery, they would actually use gold to repair it so that the cracks would actually be highlighted. You see these pottery, and there's all these gold striations through it. And in a way, again, woodworking is the same. Every patch, every fix, every adjustment, that's the gold, right? That's what makes your work yours. So if you've ever struggled with this, or honestly, if you're brand new to woodworking or anything in life, just keep in mind, you don't need confidence to start. You just need to start, and confidence will likely find you along the way. All right, enough about that. Let's actually get back to the build. So again, as I'm doing this, I'm using the blue tape just to kind of protect the top coat. And so I'm going to be using this Danish oil from Watco, and I've really loved this with a lot of my other projects. So I'm going to be using it on this maple. And honestly, this edging that I'm using with this maple that I got is absolutely turning out to be fantastic. I used just a 4-inch piece to go on the, kind of like the backsplash, if you will, of this entertainment center. And it is turning out fantastic here. One last little testing of those heavy duty L brackets, but at this point, it is looking awesome. And it so ties together. Again, the tabletop matches the floor, which matches the countertop of the kitchen. So all of this is just becoming so fluid and consistent. I am super, super excited. And for those of you now that want to see how the actual tiny home came together from start to finish, well, that's going to be the next video, but unfortunately it's not quite ready yet. So for now, I'll be putting up the one that YouTube thinks will be better for you right now. But as soon as the full build is done, I'll swap it out so that you can watch the entire journey from day one. Thanks for watching, y'all.